Uhuru Sasa, which means freedom now in Key Swahili. And we just listened to Fela Kuti, and he did a song called Zambi. And he was talking about the police in Lagos, Nigeria. And like we said, the police, that society, the police, well, any society, the police protect the state. And Fela had a lot of problems with the police. His mother was thrown out of a window, two-story window, and died maybe a year later. And he definitely had a problem with the police. And joining us on the line from the All-African People's Revolutionary Party is Thandiwe Chimurenga, and we are going to be talking about Pan-African Women's Day. And Thandiwe, your last name is Chimurenga. That is a Shona name from Zimbabwe, correct?
That is correct. Warmest revolutionary greetings, Elder Norman Otis, Melinda, and Lisa. Yes, my name is Thandiwe Kuletu Uhuru Nehanda Chimurenga. And Chimurenga is one of the phases of the anti-colonial fights or struggles that our people waged in Zimbabwe, starting in the 1800s against British colonization. So the Chimurenga represents the collective armed resistance of African people in Zimbabwe, but it also represents the strength, perseverance, and determination of our people to liberate our continent.
You're listening to Diasporic music, and one of my best friends, Unyama Ngangara, is a Shona man, so I've been knowing him for forever, and I used to eat a lot of sadna when we lived together for a long time. Me, him, and the Honourable Milton Blake. Remember Milton Blake?
Oh, yes. Oh, he's an icon in our community. Brother Milton Blake, that silky, out of this world voice, and his commitment to the liberation of our people using radio and his deep connection with knowledge and current events. He's an icon in our community.
And Melinda, you want to start the questions off?
Yeah, maybe take listeners a little bit background of Pan-African Women's Day and the history and stuff, and what is upcoming on that day next week.
Yes. As I said, I'm an organizer with the All-African People's Revolutionary Party. Just to give a bit of background, I have been organizing with the A-APRP since 1988, when great son of Africa, who is now an ancestor, Kwame Ture, came to Toronto to do his annual recruitment drive. I heard him speak as a student at York University. And as they say, the rest is history. So I've been organizing with the A-APRP for 37 years. And an integral part of our program is annual Pan-African Women's Day commemorations. We have in the A-APRP a women's wing called the All-African Women's Revolutionary Union, which was founded in November of 1980. And I was actually nominated to go to Guinea-Bissau in the year 2000 to represent not only the party, but specifically the All-African Women's Revolutionary Union at the 20th anniversary commemoration in Guinea-Bissau that was being hosted by the women's wing of the PAIGC, the African Party for the Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde, which was founded by great son of Africa, Amilcar Cabral. So we had the 20th anniversary commemoration there. Now I'm giving you that contextual history in respect of the Pan-African movement and our people's individual and collective struggle for the liberation of Africa. So just to give a bit of background history on the origin of Pan-African Women's Day, Pan-African Women's Day was founded on July 31st, 1962 in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, following recommendations of the All-African Women's Conference that took place in July of 1961 in Conakry, Guinea, in the west of Africa. Now, before this conference, there were resolutions to organize African women's conferences and meet in Dar es Salaam the following year in July 1962 to create a Pan-African Women's Organization, a Pan-African Women's Organization. It should also be noted that the same process took place for youth and workers, meaning that each area had held national conferences to create national workers' unions and national African youth organizations, followed by an African continental Pan-Africanist youth organization and Pan-African Workers Union. Now, this is a lot of historical information, but what it does show is that our people's struggle for the liberation of the entire African continent has different phases where we organized conferences, where we came together to define the objectives for the liberation of our respective nations in Africa. There's 54 microstates in Africa. And so in Tanzania, African women played a very important role within the Pan-African movement to define the objectives and to build a collective consciousness for the liberation of not only Tanzania, but the entire African continent. So the Pan-African Women Organization was the first continental women's organization, which was created on July 31st, 1962. And it was inaugurated 1 year before the Organization of the African Unity, the OAU, by the heads of state and government of independent African countries. Now, the participants came from 14 liberation movements. Can you imagine that? 14 liberation movements coming together in Tanzania on July 31st, 1962. And I'll just, for the sake of time, just mention a few of them. They included the PAIGC, which I mentioned, which is the African Party of the Independence of Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde, which was founded by great son of Africa, Amilcar Cabral. The Democratic Party of Guinea, which was founded by great son of Africa, Ahmed Sékou Touré. And the Convention People's Party of Ghana, which was founded by great son of Africa, Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. So the first headquarters of the meeting was in Bamako, Mali, from 1962 until the coup d'etat against Modibo Keita of Mali and the US RDA government. It was then transferred to Algiers in Algeria, followed by Luanda in Angola, Pretoria in South Africa, and now at Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. I'll briefly just mention some of the aims and objectives of the Pan-Africanist women's organizations. Number one, to support all the actions of African governments. Number two is to form and mobilize African women in countries that were still colonized, to mobilize them to fight for liberation. Number three, to continue the struggle for recognition and application of the right of African women to participate in decision-making in politics, economics, culture, and social life, and to promote the effective unity among African states through friendship and cooperation for a genuine peace. So, Pan-African Women's Day was founded on July 31st, 1962, at the height of the African anti-colonial struggle throughout the continent of Africa. African women were the backbone of those struggles. And so Pan-African Women's Day was the organized attempt of African women, supported by various revolutionary and progressive African governments, to take the struggle for the liberation of Africa and the liberation of African women on the continent to the next phase of realization.
You're listening to Diasporic music on Black Power 96. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't cut you.
No, you didn't, Elder.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Elder Norman, I was finished my description and historical overview of Pan-African Women's Day. So you go ahead.
Oh, okay. The whole question of Amilcar Cabral, you mentioned Amilcar Cabral. I remember reading Amilcar Cabral from a speech he made in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, where he talked about how after he was talking about uniting all of Africa, and there was a meeting of all of the liberation movements from the Portuguese colonies, Angola, Mozambique, and Guinea-Bissau. And he actually gave, I started to say a shout out, but he didn't. It's not a shout out, but he called on the people of the world to support the Africans in Los Angeles, California, during the Watts Rebellion. He actually said that in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. I will never forget that as long as I live, because I grew up in Los Angeles, California, and I remember he shouted out the Africans in Los Angeles. And I was supposed to have met Amilcar Cabral. I was on my way I was somewhere in the United States. I won't say the city, and I was getting ready to go. They were ready to pick me up, and I got a call from someone that said that the feds were looking for somebody, and they actually called my African name. So they put me in a car and got me out of the city I was in and brought me back to Canada. I never will forget that as long as I live. So I never will forget that, because Cabral spoke he spoke in Harlem, and he spoke at the United Nations.
Yes, Elder, I want to pay tribute to you as one of our global Pan-African heroes. You are a walking history book for our people in terms of your knowledge of the Pan-African movement and the revolutionary struggle on the continent of Africa and in the African diaspora. So thank you so much, Elder, for sharing this historical information, which many of our people don't know.
I'm really a lightweight.
Pardon?
I say I am really a lightweight. I've come up with some of the. I had some of the best teachers. So, but I wouldn't put myself in that category. I was blessed. I was blessed to have been around some of the heaviest weights in our movement.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about you. You're so humble. And yes, you were taught by the heavyweights, but as a student, you were obedient. And we can't underestimate the importance of you passing the baton to our people, because some students drop by the wayside, they're disobedient, they don't continue the struggle, and you have continued the struggle So I just want to honor and respect you on behalf of our community for doing that. Now, Amilcar Cabral is one of Africa's great sons. He was born on September 12, 1924 in Guinea-Bissau, and he was assassinated by the enemies of our people, by the enemies of African liberation on January 20th, 1973, while he was in Conakry, Guinea. And Amilcar Cabral founded the PAIGC, which is still in existence today in 2025, as a vehicle for the liberation of our people in Guinea-Bissau. And he also fought in the anti-colonial struggle with one of our great female Pan-African warriors, Mama Theodora Gomez, and other revolutionaries. They took up arms against the Portuguese to liberate Guinea-Bissau. Now, Amilcar Cabral's legacy continues. He was an agricultural engineer, brilliant engineer, and he used his education for the liberation of our people. He had strong ties with Ahmed Sékou in Guinea and Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. And throughout his life, he worked and organized for the liberation of our people through the PIGC. And we would like to pay tribute to that great son of Africa, Amilcar Cabral. And as you said, Elder, he traveled outside of Africa to different parts of the divided states of America to raise the consciousness of African people and other people, and to garner political support for the anti-colonial struggle and fight against the Portuguese in Guinea-Bissau, and also for other parts of Africa. So yes, Amilcar Cabral is a national hero of not only Guinea-Bissau, but all of Africa. And it is Guinea-Bissau where myself, Mama Moina Kouyaté, who is an ancestor, we were voted by the women's wing of our party, the All-African Women's Revolutionary Unit, to go to Guinea-Bissau to co-host the 20th anniversary of the founding of the All-African Women's Revolutionary Union. But the other important thing that took place at that conference in November of 2000 was that the women's wing of Amilcar Cabral's party, the Democratic Union of Guinean Women, who co-hosted the meeting, and our women's wing, we passed resolutions in respect of building what Kwame Nkrumah had wrote about in his book, The Handbook of Revolutionary Warfare, which is the All-African Committee for Political Coordination. The All-African Committee for Political Coordination in the Handbook of Revolutionary Warfare as a strategy for the unification of Africa. So his vision, just to wrap up my comments, was to have this political coordination in every country in Africa. All of the liberation movements that exist on the ground would unite under a common umbrella politically and also ideologically, so that we had and will have a collective consciousness of integrated revolutionary and progressive organizations throughout all 54 states. So, for example, in South Africa, we have the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, and we have the Azanian People's Organization, AZAPO, who our party has communicated with about the A-APRP. And we also have the PIGC, which is part of the A-APRP. So my point is, the AACPC, the All African Committee for Political Coordination, is still in its early embryonic stages. And I would think that the Sahel countries would be part of that in the foreseeable future. So thank you for your comments, Elder Norman, about great son of Africa, Amilcar Cabral. May his soul rest in peace.
I have a question for you. I have, it was reported, and I'm just looking at, did a Google search, but it was my understanding that the Portuguese colonialists at that particular time used a faction of the PAIGC. They wanted to get rid of Cabral because, you know, he was anti-imperialist and pro-socialist and all of that. It was always my understanding that they used the fact that Amilcar Cabral wasn't black enough. His complexion, this was the line that they used. They used the same line against Maurice Bishop. You know, there's some people I know that, you know, claim that, you know, Maurice Bishop was light skin and he shouldn't really be leading the struggle. Is there any truth to that? That's why the imperialists use that as a tactic to have Amilcar Cabral assassinated. Have you ever heard that?
Elder, I haven't directly heard about that, but I have heard that there were factions within the PIGC, which is quite common within the Pan-African movement, that these revolutionary or progressive parties have ideological differences and different camps internal to the party. So I do know of the ideological differences that existed in the PIGC, which, as you said, could have led to internal factions aligning themselves with the enemies of the PIGC. But I don't directly know about what you were saying about the tactic used in respect of skin color. I do know colorism in our movement is still a reactionary ideology that is used sometimes by our own people to create divisions. So I do agree that oftentimes, even in Nkrumah's CPP, the Convention People's Party, and Sekou Touré's PDG, the Democratic Party of Guinea, there were ideological differences. There were different factions who were fighting against the African Revolution. So for that to exist in the PIGC is not uncommon.
Oh, yes. Melinda, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, I just wanted, before we run out of time, maybe tell people in Toronto about the upcoming event next week.
Yes, my sister. So next Saturday, August the 9th, from 1 to 5 p.m., the All African People's Revolutionary Party, led by the All African Women's Revolutionary Union, is commemorating Pan-African Women's Day. This is a very historic and important event for the African community in Canada because it is an opportunity for our community to not only celebrate the achievements of African or Black women, but to strategize based on the existing conditions of our people about how we can liberate ourselves. We know that on August the 1st, it was Emancipation Day, and this is Emancipation Month in Canada. In England, August is Mosiah Month, commemorating great son of Africa, the Honourable Marcus Mosiah Garvey's birth and his powerful legacy in respect of unifying the African continent. So I'll just give you the overview of the details. It's next Saturday, August the 9th, from 1 to 5 p.m. The theme of Pan-African Women's Day is African women are the black backbone of our struggle. African women are the backbone of our struggle. This is the 63rd Pan-African Women's Day commemoration. It will be an outdoor event at Downsview Park at Keele and Sheppard, and it's on the base or the leased property of the Toronto Black Farmers Collective in the greenhouse. There's going to be free food, there's going to be music, powerful cultural performances, and most importantly, we're going to have a roundtable discussion about the state of our community and the role that African or Black women have played, and to develop a strategy for dealing with issues like the challenges that our youth are facing, what's happening within the education system, and other important topics. So the panel discussion or the roundtable discussion will feature Elder Tiki Mercury Clark, who is a cultural icon and artist in our community, Sister Faith Greaves, who is the president of the UNIA, the Universal Negro Improvement Association, which was founded by the Honourable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, myself, Sister Elder Thandiwe Chimurenga, as a leader within the All-African People's Revolutionary Party. Also, we have Dr. Joan Samuels, who is a renowned psychologist and community activist. We have Sister Donna Alexander. She's part of the Tibono Institute leadership. And we'll also have Mighty Daughter of Africa, Mama Nzuri Pembeli, who organizes with the All-African People's Revolutionary Party in California. She will be calling in. She was formerly part of the Central Committee of the party and has been an organizer for over 49 years. And we have Sister Yashika Lopez, who will be calling in from Kingston, Jamaica. She's an activist there and part of the Nakambuka collective of organizers in Jamaica. So we're calling on our people to attend. It's a free event. Brothers and non-binary people are welcomed. Please wear white if you can, as a symbol of unity. So Pan-African Women's Day is next Saturday, August the 9th from 1 to 5 p.m. And the focus is on African Black women, the backbone of our struggle, at Downsview Park, 70 Canuck Avenue, right at Keele and Sheppard. And it's in or outside of the greenhouse, depending on the weather conditions. Please come, spread the word. For further information, contact me, Elder Thandiwe Chimurenga. The phone number is 416-825-7900, 416-825-7900 is the phone number.
Thank you, and we will hopefully see you at the event. And thank you for your contribution.
You're welcome, Elder. I want to thank you, Melinda and Lisa, for inviting me. If I could quickly also mention that Sister Faith Greaves, the president of the UNIA, is organizing a third annual tribute to the Right Honourable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. The UNIA is organizing that event on Sunday, August the 17th from 5 to 8 p.m. At Carrot Common Rooftop, 348 Danforth Avenue. Speakers include Brother Kofi Morris, myself, Thandiwe Chimurenga, Brother Clem Marshall, Brother Brahim Callan, Dr. Marilyn Morris. The event is free, and there's also going to be tributes to our youth leadership in our community. Awards will be presented. That's Sunday, August the 17th, 5 to 8 p.m. by the Universal Negro Improvement Association. Sister Elder Faith Greaves is the president of that organization. We're asking our people to come out and support it. The phone number is 437-432-2100, 437-432-2100 on Sunday, August the 17th. August the 17th is the birthday of the Honourable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, 135 years of the Honourable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Thank you, my elder.
And thank you. And we're going to take you to the Jazz Zone with T in Providence, and he's going to be talking about the late, great Andy Bay, and then stay tuned for the Horn Report with the Dr. Gerald Charles Horn.